different of a week for you because it's San Diego State? You're looking at players you know and things like that on the film.
Well, look, that part of it, I guess, is different. You know, you're obviously more familiar with this team because we just coached the team, but there's no difference really. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's about San Diego State against Michigan, you know, and anything else is just all smoke and mirrors.
Rocky said today that you guys have an advantage over them because you know the players, and he also said that if he was one of you guys and he knew your signals, that he would look at them. And I mean, does that come into play at all? Well, I mean,
I don't know. I really don't get caught up too much in that. I mean that. I'm not signals and all that stuff. It's overrated, way overrated. There's 17 teams in the NFL that run the same offense. So there was last count. I'm not sure what it is. You know, they use the same terms. They use all that. Nobody changes. They may change a little bit here and there, but not significantly enough to where it scares people, you know, where they completely change their system or their whole way of doing things.
Use the same signals you use at San Diego State?
No, we don't. No, and a lot of ours is sent in on wristband calls anyway, so it's difficult for anybody to get what we're doing simply because they'd have to have the wristbands.
Were you involved in Coleman's recruiting, and if so, what did you guys see?
Well, Hillman was already committed when we got there, so our job really was just kind of hanging on to him. So.
He looked like a good one.
Oh yeah. I mean, the kids that we kept, you know, we thought pretty good players, and he turned out to be a good player, obviously.
Are you surprised with how prolific they are?
No.
On the opposite side of the ball?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Did it make you feel good knowing that you?
No, we got to play them. It made me feel great last year. It didn't. No, they're a good team and they deserve respect, and we're going to give it to them. Our kids are well aware of what they're dealing with here. You know, we've made it clear to them that this is going to be a tough contest. You know, I think they're playing confidently, and we better come ready to play.
How do you view Denard's game throwing the ball Saturday in the process of getting him into this offense?
Well, kind of a tale of two halves, you know. We weren't very good in the first half. We've got to get better, obviously, and he knows. We've been talking about it, about squaring away some of the footwork issues, which I think will significantly help his accuracy. And you know, I got to do a better job of getting him in some situations where he can complete more balls too. You know, we did that a lot in the second half of the game. You know, so it's not all Denard. We gotta consider every schematic that we have and everything that we're doing, every play we're calling, and every guy that's in there, and make sure that we're giving him every chance to succeed.
Has there been a theme in the first quarter that you've seen a constant of why you're not scoring early?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a theme. I mean, it's always something different, you know. There's always a glitch here, an error there, a missed assignment here. You know, we had last game for some reason, and I'm not sure why. We had too many missed assignments. We had not had many in the first two games, but we had a few, and we're working on getting that better, and it'll get better. You know, a few systematic growing pains, but a few things that, you know, just should have been done correctly and weren't done correctly, and we're gonna work them until we get it straight.
So is it a lot of little things?
A lot of little things, yeah. And it's not any one player, you know. It's all of us, and that's usually what it is. You know, it's funny whenever you're sputtering or you're not doing well, the general tendency is to blame it on one instance, whether it's a quarterback or the coach or the whatever. It's very seldom that's the situation. It's generally a litany of problems, you know. And in the first quarter, that's kind of what it's been. Is we just have not. I tell you something else that's happened too is because. A lot of these teams are so aimed at stopping Denard. You know, there's some of the things they're doing on the tape they're not doing when they play us. So there's an adjustment period there too for us as coaches, and that translates down to the players. And sometimes it takes us a little longer than we'd like to. You know, I think historically, as a coordinator, I've been a faster starting. You know, we generally do a lot better early in the game, but. You know, as long as you get it, I'd like to start faster, just like everybody else would. But as long as they understand, it's a long game, and you may not have a good quarter. You have a bad game, that's a whole different thing.
Mo told us yesterday that they run a unique defense, different than maybe someone said different than anything other people do. What is this?
Well, it's what Rocky Long has done, and I've been lucky. I've coached with Rocky twice at UCLA and at San Diego State, and against him. when I was at Oregon. So I've seen both sides of it. What he's done is he's taken a 3-3 concept and created a lot of different looks from the 3-3 that makes it hardly recognizable with regard to being a 3-3, you know. And what seems to be it can be seen to be helter-skelter is not at all. There's very, very disciplined style. Every guy's in a gap, you know. Every guy's got a responsibility. Everybody's got to be in a certain place. Coverage is sound, and you know, but it's not what you see every week, and that requires a little bit more preparation. You know, it's like facing a wishbone team when you never see a wishbone team. You know, you got a whole different approach from a defensive perspective, and offensively, it's the same thing with the 3-3.
Does that give you an advantage because you've coached with it twice and against it before, and
well,
you're more familiar than most?
Not really. Maybe a little bit, but not really, because what Rock does a good job of is nuance. He'll give you a bunch of stuff that you don't anticipate seeing. Every game there's going to be a different plan, a different blitz, a different something. Now, knowing the core of the defense helps a little bit, but it may not be exactly what you think when the game starts. It probably isn't going to be what you think. So the idea is to identify as quickly as possible as what you think they're trying to do and make your adjustments accordingly.
When you, in the second half on Saturday, it seemed like you went almost exclusively shotgun. Is that just kind of what it might be because of Denard's skill set?
No, not necessarily. Well, we're still going to run both, you know. But as you go through the game, and I've already said this like 1,000 times, but if they're not stopping certain phases of your offense, you have to tap that. You know what I mean? And we just found that they were struggling stopping the quarterback runs. They were, and because we were sputtering in the first half, I would be a bad play caller, a bad coordinator, if I didn't do what they were struggling to defend. So that's what we did.
Do you chart the success rates of under center plays versus shotgun?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. We monitor it. But
I'm pleased with what you've seen from.
2 weeks ago under center, we threw 4 touchdown passes. You know, and under shotgun, we threw like 40-something% completions and over 70. So, and then this last week, we were better in the shotgun. You know, so what's nice is you can do both. You know, we have the ability to do both. So we're constantly monitoring what we think is the best approach. But, you know, he's been in the gun. He's comfortable in the shotgun, and we're never going to stop doing that. We're still going to, you know, and he poses a threat to the defense as a runner best from the shotgun. So that's always going to be a part of our offense.
What's your highest performing position group?
What's that?
By position group, who's your strongest group? Is it the O-linemen, tight ends?
Oh, I don't know. You talking about through the 3 games, a composite of 3 games? There's been no one any better than anybody else, to be honest with you. We're still in the embryonic stages of learning how we're doing this. There's been games our receivers have played pretty good. There's been games our line has played pretty good, but I wouldn't single out any one position to be any better than the other one.
How much of what Vince accomplished on Saturday was him, the scheme, and the line?
I'm sorry.
How much of what Vince accomplished on Saturday was him, or the situation in the game where Denard was starting to open?
Well, I think a little bit of both. I mean, Vince, what happened, and this is the residual of Denard Robinson, okay, is he starts running the ball, and the awareness levels of him running the ball heighten, and because of the nature of the spread offense and what we do within it, they're forced to defend him, and which takes the attention a lot of times off our running backs. And in this case, it was Vince, you know, and not just because of that. Vince made a couple nice runs. Vince had a couple runs under center where we handled the ball, where he really did a nice job, and that had very little to do with the zone read and such. But he's a complete football player, Vince. He really is. He does so many things well. If he was 200 and something odd pounds, he would really be something. But he does a good job at his size. You know, he does everything he can with what he has.
Does his size fit what you might want in a lead back, or is that?
No, I want a guy 220 pounds that runs 4-0. But those aren't falling out of the trees these days. So you go, you know, you take what you get. I mean, I've had all kinds of players. Ronnie Hillman is not the size that you're looking for, but he knows how to gain yards. So the one thing as a coach is you just can't get locked into that. I mean, there's something you like, but you got to go with it. This job. This game is about production, not potential. You know, so if a guy's smaller but produces, you got to find a way to let him play. You know, and find a role for him.
Sorry, are you resigned to the fact that this is going to be a tailback by committee kind
Well, until somebody steps to the forefront, and establishes himself as that guy, we're not going to just name a guy. That'd be absurd.
Do you think Vince can be that guy?
I think he can be one of those guys. I don't know. We'll see as it goes. But all options are open. I'll say that.
Brady was pleased, he said, to see Fitz jump back in there. What did he show you?
He did some nice things. He did. He really did. Fitz is a tough guy. He runs the ball, and he's relentless. He's not afraid of the defense. He makes no concessions to the defense. He's good inside the tackles. He's got pretty good speed outside. His game is good. He has pieces of a game that still need improvement, but he's going to give you everything he's got, and he has the ability to break a long run.
What did you see from Thomas Rawls that warranted a few snaps there at the end?
Well, he's a talented kid that we need to find out more about. You know what I mean? I said it in the beginning is if it's a freshman that's the best back, so be it. But we're never going to find out unless we put him in a game and give him the ball and find out. So.
What did you find out about him?
Well, that he's not afraid to run the ball inside. He too is like Fitz. He's a tough runner, got good burst of speed, but until he gets the ball more, you're not going to really know. You know.
Can we expect to see him more?
No, I think so. Yeah, I think so. How much I'm not sure, but I think you'll see some. You'll see more Thomas.
What scares you most about Rocky's defense this year?
Well, the same thing they did in 1995 is they're all over the place, and if you let them leak and you can't get your play started, you're going to have a long night. You know, you have to pick up their pressures. You got to do a good job picking up their pressures, and you got to give your quarterback a chance to see some of the throws, and you got to run the ball well enough so that that they're not playing you as a one-dimensional team. That's it.
Last time you faced him in a game, 95.
Against them, yeah, at Oregon, yeah.
How key is it to have Denard and the team establish a passing game so that teams can't just totally gang up?
Oh, it's critical. We're about balance now. We're going to find a way, somehow, some way, to be a balanced football team. You know, and we're going to keep working to that end. And we do it every day in practice. For every run, we throw a pass, you know, and you know, a lot of people will say, well, what do you do that for? You're a better running team. Well, we'll still be a good running team because we still work on running. But I know that at one point in time that's going to be a very difficult thing to do against certain teams. And if you don't have the ability to throw the ball over the top of the defense or sometimes throw it under the defense with a relative amount of consistency, it's going to show up. You know, so you got to be able to do it, and we're never going to give up on it.
Coach, you said that unlike Coach Madison, you looked at all the offensive tape from last year,
Mm-hmm.
and in running the spread, which is something that you haven't done a lot of in the past, have you been drawing up your own plays based on that, or have you been borrowing?
No, we're always in research mode, always. Off season, you know, we're constantly trying to enrich ourselves professionally to learn more and more about how to use our personnel. And if it means going here, going there, talking to this guy, talking to that guy, tweaking schemes, we're constantly doing that, you know. So, you know, we ran a lot of this stuff in the spring, you know. Well, when I came here, I knew that we weren't going to be an entirely pro-style offense. We won't until we reach a point where we have that kind of personnel. We're going to be running more of a hybrid. And, you know, if you're going to run more of a hybrid, you better know what you're doing in that other stuff. And
Have any of the players come to you and said, this play is something we did well last year, maybe we should try it?
no, not really, no.
You said
No.
in the past that there were programs like San Diego State that were a spread team before you guys got there.
Mhm.
In terms of pro style versus spread things that you ran in that first year, how does it compare? that
Well, we
now?
went straight to we blew up the whole thing and went to pro-style offense because we had a pro-style quarterback. So it was a completely different scenario.
Coach, do you expect to be working with Denard on his footwork this late in the
Every day we go through footwork drills. We never stop our fundamental foundation all the time.
Did you expect that you'd be working with him, you know, continually? Or
Whatever, it wouldn't make any difference who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it was Denard Robinson, Ryan Lindley, Jason Campbell, whoever. Every day they go through their steps and their footwork and how things go. And we never assume that they just know it and stop. It's always a constant, you know.
Have you seen improvement or regression there when it comes to his footwork?
Oh, there's been some drastic improvement in some areas. It was just with the consistency, I think, is still not where it needs to be. He'd be the first one to tell you that. But he's when he does it and does it right, he can sling it now. He threw a glance post late in the game, and his fundamentals were pretty, and that ball came out like it was shot out of a cannon. So, but he's not unlike so many kids that I've had in my first year. Ryan Lindley, was very much the same way. They were still learning what we wanted as a fundamental foundation. And then once they get it, they get it. It seems to all come at once,
What makes Ryan Lindley so successful at this point? What's made him?
He's just played a lot. He's got a rocket arm, He's smart, on top of things, real good football intelligence. He's got a big, strong throwing arm, and he wants to be a great quarterback.
What was he like when you got there?
It was just the same thing. He just didn't run our offense. He'd run somebody else's offense, but he's always been an ambitious kid.
You said you needed to see more from Rawls before you really make an assessment. Same for Devin Gardner. I mean, were you hoping to get him on?
Oh yeah, I'd like to get him in every game, but to develop all these questions about Denard Robinson, okay, are all fair questions. Denard Robinson is not going to develop any of these skills with Devin Gardner in the game, so that's bad and good because God knows I'd like to get Devin in a game. We all would. We've talked about it endlessly, but it's just hard to do. Unless you're going to commit to a 2-quarterback system, which we're not going to do. We're going to have to wait. We're going to try to find instances where we can get him on the field.
Did you talk to any of the players after you left? Any of the San Diego players?
We blew out of it, but I came back and I talked to a few. Yeah, we blew out of there so fast. I think it was break or something. A lot of them were gone. But then I came back later and I saw several of them.